Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Yesterday, the mainstream media brought the nation another story contributing to this race war. It's coming out of Cleveland, not the first story in this genre to come out from this city. This story dates back 2 years. It's the story of a white police officer shooting unarmed black civilians in a car and killing them. Yesterday, he was acquitted of murder. Let's just look at that headline from yesterday. This was it from CNN yesterday. Not guilty. This is the officer, Michael Brelo. If you go back and look at all the shooting hoaxes involving white police officers and black men, more than half of those stories have a Michael in it. And I realize Michael's a very common name, but the reason this name is used so often in the hoaxes is because of its gematria, 33, which we'll talk more about. Let's look at CNN's caption, though. We've seen a lot of these lately, too. Michael Brelo stood on the hood of a car and fired 15 times at two unarmed black people inside. Not two people, black people. A judge ruled the white Cleveland officer's actions were justified. Not the officer's actions, the white Cleveland officer's actions. In all these race war stories, it's all about black on white. If you've noticed, they've neglected Hispanics, Asians, Russians, Middle Easterners. They're saving those ethnic groups possibly for a future race war. Right now, it's just white and black that they're focused on. And notice, not guilty has a gematria of 44. The word black has a Pythagorean gematria of 11. People, 33. So black people, also a 44 gematria. And we'll talk more about 44 in Cleveland in just a second. Let's look at this other headline from yesterday. This is in wake of the acquittal, outrage in Cleveland. The word outrage has a Pythagorean gematria of 33, just like the city name Cleveland, named after the president Grover Cleveland, who was all full of 33 tributes throughout his presidency. I want you to notice that the phrase race war has a gematria of 33. So does the phrase black lives, this new popular saying, Black Lives Matter. If you're someone who's using this phrase, you need to wake up to what this phrase is really all about. It wasn't sold to you by black people. It was sold to you by this same gang that believes in dividing and conquering. You know whose principles those are? Those are the Freemasons' principles, the same people who have the highest degree of 33 in Scottish Rite Freemasonry. The name Michael also has a Pythagorean gematria of 33, which I should have wrote up here. If you've never done this before, Truth Seeker, here's how you do it. M's the 13th letter, but instead of adding 13, you add 1 plus 3 equals 4. I's the 9th, C's the 3rd, H is the 8th, A's the 1st, E's the 5th, L's the 12th. But instead of adding 12, you add 1 plus 2 equals 3. And in this way, Michael sums to 33. In simple English gematria, well, hold on. Let's go back a second. So yesterday we got this story about the acquittal of the police officer, Michael Brelo. For weeks, I have been listening purposefully to black-hosted talk radio shows because I want to hear what they have to say as well as the listeners and callers about this rash of reported shootings, white officers, black victims. And unfortunately, the radio shows don't cover these stories with truth. They don't expose what a deliberate hoax they all are and how easy they are to see through. Instead, they talk about them as if the stories are real and that they're real injustices, which is a tragedy in itself. And of course, these people on the radio are on the radio because they're the types of people who discuss things within the mainstream narrative, which is what the Zionist Jew bosses want, who are behind all these coded headlines and these purposefully divisive stories. They don't want honest radio show hosts who break it down and talk about it in truth, such as how I do. Any fool can see the Walter Scott shooting hoax doesn't make any sense. Any fool can see that the Tamir Rice shooting hoax doesn't make any sense, which we'll watch at the end of this. They don't even pass the eyeball test. You don't need gematria, numerology. You just need to watch with your own eyes. In the case of Walter Scott, he's running 20 feet in front of the cop. The cop unloads about 8 bullets. Walter Scott doesn't react to a single one of them. Then all of a sudden he just falls randomly off from the timing of the gun. The video even shows him being arrested, down on the ground, moving around. There's not a drop of blood anywhere. He's not showing that he's been injured at all. But then a caption comes up and says he died. You know, this is news for idiots, which is what it's always been, Truth Seeker. Even before it was a race war, it was always news for idiots. I mean, the television footage we were all showing as a nation on September 11th was designed for an idiotic audience. Planes can't melt into buildings. Buildings designed to withstand the impact of commercial airliners can't just fall the way they did. But somehow, that's presented to a nation of about 300 million people and hardly anyone questions it. It's because people are so apathetic and zoned out. And I think right now this media that's trying to provoke the race war is actually getting frustrated by the lack of reaction that's actually coming back from the public. You saw that in Baltimore with the Freddie Gray shooting. So with regards to this 44 coding, what I want to bring up, Truth Seeker, is that the Cleveland Cavaliers are about to be in the NBA Finals, which will begin June 4th. Remember, the college championship was April 6th. The NBA championship begins June 4th. Why? Because it's all about this synced up numerology. The sports leagues, the mainstream media, it's all ran by the same gang of Zionist Jews that practice this gematria, this numerology, and code it into all their doings. With regards to Cleveland, they've been in the NBA for 44 years this season, and 44 has been huge in sports. I've been talking about this for almost a year now. Cleveland Cavaliers will likely win their first NBA championship this year in their 44th year of being. And think about Cleveland Cavaliers and LeBron James. Remember the Trayvon Martin shooting? His initials TM are 20 plus 13, 33. George Zimmerman, his shooter, G's the 7th letter, Z's the 26th, added up, 33. Trayvon Martin was buried March 3rd, the anniversary of the Rodney King beating, another 3-3. Anyway, in that whole Trayvon Martin thing, LeBron James kind of became the focal point of the movement with the hoodie sweatshirt. Do you remember all this? If these headlines become bigger in Cleveland, if the Tamir Rice story catches on, maybe we'll see something else with Cleveland and LeBron James being associated with this whole thing. As I've been saying, sports and the mainstream media are synced up. Think about after 9/11, how the New England Patriots became the nation's best football team just out of nowhere with this pretty boy quarterback with no arm, who now has become the quarterback to start in the most Super Bowls. You know, September 11th, then overnight a Patriot Act. Remember that? How fast they crammed through the Patriot Act, this thing that essentially reorganized the government, changed all sorts of laws domestically, started wars abroad. Do you remember this? You know, so many people in this nation, even still today, make excuses for Obama. They say, oh, he can't do anything because things take time. You know, these are how sheep speak. These are how people speak who aren't paying attention to anything. How could you possibly say things take time with government when you lived in the wake of 9/11 and you saw how fast the government flipped the whole country around? You know? Too many sheep speaking in this country. People need to learn to shut up and listen. All right, close that rant. All this 33. Don't forget police is a 33 word. Anyway, Tamir Rice, he was shot at 3:30 p.m., Truth Seeker, and he was shot on November 22nd, 11/22/14. 11/22 is the anniversary date of JFK. JFK was shot 11/22/63. 11 plus 22 is 33, plus 63 more is 96. Notice that 63, 51 years later, is 2014, the date of this Tamir Rice shooting. The name Tamir Rice with Pythagorean gematria sums to 51, like the word conspiracy. And with simple English gematria, his name sums to 96, like Freemason. Do you think the Tamir Rice shooting, in a way, also was a subtle tribute to the JFK assassination? I certainly do. I certainly do. 3:30 p.m. on a date with 33 numerology connections. And then if that wasn't enough 33, they released his parents' names, which were Samira and Leonard, but the media commonly referred to her as Sam. Sam is a name with 33 spelling, and so is Leonard with Pythagorean gematria. In the Michael Brown shooting, his mother's name was Leslie. That S is a typo, but the name Leslie has a gematria of 33 as well. All these shootings, it's the same thing over and over. The same numbers reorganized into different words. The Tamir Rice shooting, most of the press came out of this Baptist church. Baptist equals 33. And if you want to look up something that's really creepy, Truth Seeker, or I shouldn't say creepy, what further reveals the hoax is nothing's been done with Tamir Rice's body. Supposedly it's still frozen or, just kept in the chamber that they keep it in. It hasn't been cremated. It hasn't been buried. It's supposedly just in a box somewhere. What's that about? Headlines at the time, video. Boy with air gun was shot 2 seconds after Cleveland police arrived. And that headline's no exaggeration. Let's watch it here. Let's see the hoax with our own eyes.
Show the video from the rec center. And just so everybody knows, the video is compressed for time. So it has been compressed. But like I said, we'll show it once, and then we'll go back and show it again, and there'll be some narrative to it.
All right, so now Tamir Rice is in the back of the screen. He's back here, walking around. All right, watch this, Truth Seeker. Police car just pulls up. This door's about to open, and just watch how fast supposedly he shoots him and he falls. Just watch this. And think about it, Truth Seeker. Do you think if the police were told that there was a man armed with a gun in the park, they'd pull up right next to where he is? I mean, that wouldn't even be safe for them. If he really had a gun, he could just easily shoot in there and kill both of them right now. Doors open, shot, boom. I mean, come on. Does any of this look real? And the boy just hangs out in this perfect area where the one camera is on the park on all this. It's just so easy to see through. They're treating us like we're morons, Truth Seeker. But that's what they've always done. And that's what I've been saying since I was 18 years old. I'm nearly 32 now. I was 18 when 9/11 happened. And I've been saying the same things over and over. This media just keeps treating us like we're morons. It's obvious that what they present are lies, deceptions. The whole purpose of our media is to instill fear, torment us, divide us, and make us tune out. And that's what most people have done. They don't even pay attention to the news anymore. But at the same time, they're not paying attention to anything besides going to work, going to school, paying the bills, and essentially just being good slaves, which is really what this is all about. Grooming the good slaves. So don't be fooled, Truth Seeker. All the black people caught up in all this, thinking that the media is finally showing them all the injustice against them. No. That's not what this is about. This is just about tormenting you. You think they want to put body cameras on cops to stop injustice like this? No, they want to put body cameras on cops so they just have that much more turf under surveillance. So they can lock up and incarcerate that many more black youth, that many more impoverished youth. People are suckers and the media knows it. And all the black talkers out there who aren't talking about this stuff truthfully and being fooled by the hoaxes, shame on all of you. It's pathetic. It is pathetic. All right, until next time.